Alright, so this pattern actually doesn't call for underwiring, but I'm going to put underwiring in my bra just because I want to. Now I have here is some pre-curved channeling, and you can actually just use bias tape as well if you can't get access to this stuff. Now as you can see here, I just placed a pin head in there just to show you guys that, you know, this is how it opens up and that's where your wire is going to go, but we're not going to actually place the wire in at this point. What we're going to do is cut off a piece that's slightly longer than your wiring, say by about 2 to 4 inches should be more than enough, and then we're going to head over to the ironing board and iron this into a shape that's similar to the wiring. Alright, so after I've ironed my channeling, what I'm going to do is take my bra here and mark down roughly about half an inch on one side and half an inch to an inch on the other side. And I am going to take my channeling with the soft side facing towards me, and I am going to let it hang over a little bit over the top of the bra here. First I'm going to maybe pin it, but yeah, what I'm going to do is let it hang over a little bit and sew down the inner edge of the seam allowance. So I will come back to you guys in a sec when that's done. Alright, so the next part is putting on the elastic band to the top of the bra. So I'm starting over here. We're going to leave this part out for now, but we're starting here, going all the way up, across, and around to the other side. Now, what we're going to do is have the soft fuzzy side of this elastic facing up, and the picot's facing down, so it's basically like right sides together like this, and we're going to sew it all the way down. And by the way, we're not encasing the what do you call it, the channeling, because, well, we're going to be dealing with that in the next step, but we don't want to have that channeling included when we sew on the elastic. Now I should note that what I'm doing here is using a very narrow zigzag stitch. Alright, so as you can see, the bra is coming together quite nicely. We've already sewn on our top elastic, and when you turn it over, it'll look like this. So I'm going to flip this to the wrong side here, and I've already gone ahead and done this, but what you do is you fold down your elastic like so, and then you take your channeling and you mark where the top of the picots are, or the top of the elastic is, and you mark the bottom, so about 1/4 inch down. And we're going to put, and I've done this on both sides, we're going to put a bar tacking stitch on the lower marking, and on the top marking we're going to cut. And we're not going to do this to the outside part here because obviously we want to be able to insert our wiring. Alright, so as you can see here, I have my wire casing completely enclosed, and the next thing I'm going to do is flip everything right side over, and I've pinned this just so that the casing stays relatively straight, because you don't want it to go all wonky on you when you're sewing, because you're sewing from the top side here. And so you're going to, you know, fold everything over like this, and you're going to use one of those 3-step zigzag stitches, and you're going to go all the way across to the other side here. Alright, so this is where things are as of right now. The next thing we're going to do is deal with the channeling that's hanging loose from this side here. And what you're going to do is take that channeling edge and line it up with the seam edge, and you could just place a pin in there to hold it in place. But then you're going to stitch in the ditch all the way along on the front side, and then you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to edge stitch along. As you can see, this is still open, so you're going to edge stitch along this side here, just making sure to leave enough room for your wire to go in. Alright, so when you're inserting the channeling, you'll realize that one side ends up longer than the other, and the shorter side is usually the color tipped side, and you want that to end up at your center front here, and you want this one to be at the side. Okay, so this is how your channeling is going to go in. As you can see, it's going in right into the hole there. I'm not putting it in through the seam or whatever. I'm just going right through that hole, and I'm going to string it right through till it gets to here. Alright, so this is how everything is looking with the wiring inserted from the inside. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the same thing I did for here, over here, now that I've got the wires in. And I'm not going to encounter a problem with the wire because I have about 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit less of room to deal with here. So I've already gone ahead and marked. Again, I did the same thing that I did for the center front, where I marked with the fold over, and then I marked where to cut. So I'm going to bar tack, and then I'm going to cut, and I'm going to come back and show you guys the product. So now that I bar tacked each side in place and trimmed, what I'm going to do is go over to the right side again, fold everything over, fold the elastic over like this, and then do that 3-step zigzag stitch all the way down. Alright, so this is how things are looking at this point with the underwire put in. Now we just got to do the bottom band and the back connector and the straps, and we're almost done.